Greetings and welcome. This is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig, and this is the Vibrant Living Hour. I'm so glad you joined me here today. If you're joining me, and whether you're going to visit me live here or see me on the replay, I'm just glad you made it somehow, some way. I'm here in my new studio, quotes studio in North Carolina. Not exactly the way I had planned to do this, but that's what it is. So I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I got some interesting thoughts here today around for the show. I've got my notes scattered all over the place. I just spent an hour and 25 minutes on the phone with a Medicare representative. That was let me tell you something. That's an exercise and a half. That's really interesting. So pardon me while I get myself back together here. I just, you're about to start a live show and you sit down in front of the camera and all of a sudden realize that you've got a shirt on that has an enormous spot right there. So that's gone. But anyway, here I am. That's really funny. Try and get yourself put back together and just bear with me here. There we go. That's better. That's a little better anyway. And I don't, it's really funny when you get in front of the camera here, you don't know what you're doing with what. There you go. Okay, so here I am. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that's been kind of on my mind. It's been on my mind a lot because I know I've talked about just briefly in the one show that we did here from North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, the week before Thanksgiving. I just wanted to touch on the idea of saying yes. My beloved Lisa and I moved to North Carolina on the 13th of November. Today is the 2nd of December. So we're a little more than 2 weeks into this. And I got really clear about the idea that the biggest yes I ever said in my entire life was moving from Colorado to North Carolina, because I had lived in Colorado for 46 years. And that was a big deal. It was a really big deal. This is really funny. I'm noticing things that are kind of out of kilter here. My chair is not right behind. There it is. If you sit right in the middle of the chair and you square your chair up, you get a better, it doesn't look like you're cockeyed. There you go. Okay. New studio, new room to work this out of, and we'll figure this out as we go, right? That's the way it's going to happen. So part of that whole thing around this big yes was, how am I living my best life? How am I showing up as my best self in this existence? And am I happy with this? Is this really what I want to do? Right here, right now, in this world, in this life, is this what I really want to do? And so as a corollary to that, I throw that out to you guys. Whoever's out there today, whoever's watching, if you're interested, I'd like to know, how are you living your best life? Wayne, nice to see you, man. It's always nice to have you on board. Thank you for dropping by. And Diego, wherever you are, Diego Reyes, I can see that you're out there somewhere, and thank you for stopping by. Anybody else that's out there, let me know that you're here. Say hello. Say, ask me a question, drop me a line, whatever it is. If I'm living my best life and you're living your best life, how are we then reflecting that into the universe, into the world? Are we actually showing up as our best selves? Are we showing up as a beneficial presence, which has become a real theme in my life, being a beneficial presence? Not only am I affirming that I am a beneficial presence, but then I want to know every single day in my prayer and affirmation work in the morning after my meditation, it's always the question of, how do I express into the world to show up as a beneficial presence? How am I doing that? What does it look like? So there's my question to you. How are you living your best life? What are you doing today to live your best life? And I think one of the key pieces for me is something that I'm working on literally every single day, and that is to live from an attitude of gratitude. That is a different thing for me. It's not always something that I'm tuned into, if you will. But I'm learning that as things happen, however they happen, to be grateful. for whatever they look like. Got a great quote from, well, a couple of great quotes. Everybody's familiar, I think, or you should be. If you're not, you will be right now. The great quote from Meister Eckhart. Meister Eckhart was he lived from the late 1200s to the early 1300s, so he would have been a 13th and 14th century person. He was a Catholic priest, and I forgot what order, and I should not have forgotten that. But he was tried in the Inquisition for heresy. He was a mystic, without question. He was a mystic, and one of his great quotes, there's lots and lots of great quotes out there from him, but the one that sticks in my mind always is, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. To live from that attitude of gratitude. And I got several of them here. There's one, if you want to be biblical, there's give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. That's from Thessalonians in the Bible. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all virtues. That's from Marcus Cicero, better just known as Cicero. One of my favorites, though, is really from Ralph Waldo Emerson, which I really like. You guys that are out there, please say hello, ask a question, just make a comment. How are you living your best life is the thought for the day. That's the question for the day. But from Emerson, we have cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. That's the one, man. That's the one. That's the one that really, really, really matters to me. Because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Wow, I love that one. I really, really love that. Everything, whatever it looks like, the good, the bad, the ugly. What looks like suck right now is something that is contributing to my advancement. And I absolutely need to embrace that and be grateful for it, regardless of what it looks like in the moment. Not always easy. I mean, my beloved Lisa and I had a real challenge in our move here from Colorado. The young fellow who moved us, just somebody who moved us 3.5 years ago, or almost 4 years ago now, from our house in Golden to our townhouse in Arvada, Colorado. And I decided to ask him if he would do a cross-country move, and he would. And he was very confident. He's done some other ones before. And I was like, okay, this is great. Let's have this young guy do it with us and take care of us, because he took such good care of us the first time. And it was a mess from the get-go. Wrong truck showed up. The company, or the whatever it is, a dispatching service or a consolidator service or something that makes sure that U-Haul trucks are moving all the time, that they don't sit and do nothing. They screwed him up on the truck he was supposed to have. Didn't have the right size truck, proved to be too small, had to get a second truck. That proved to be too small, wound up with a storage unit in Colorado, still with some of our stuff that is supposed to ship out in 4 days, on Sunday or Monday, 5 days. So it was a mess. But somewhere along the line, I have to embrace this idea of being grateful for the fact that all of our stuff got moved, or is getting moved, is being moved. Everything got here pretty much in one piece. I have nothing really broken. Although 95% of our stuff is in storage, because, as the other piece of the story is, my beloved Lisa's sister Amy, in just an incredible expression of generosity, offered us her house to live in while we look for a house here in North Carolina. She offered us her house, and she has moved into her art studio, which is on the same property. And that's the good news. The interesting news is, of course, it's a fully furnished house, and we brought in here our office stuffs because we're both entrepreneurs. We both work from home, so we have to work while we're here. But all the things we needed to stock our kitchen with pots and pans and dishes and silverware and those kinds of things, and our clothes, or what clothes we'll need for a few months here in North Carolina. So everything's in storage, as I said. And that's another interesting piece. The storage unit was filled to the brim. We still got things coming from Colorado. So my beloved Lisa and I went on last Monday, and we spent 3.5 hours there, literally tore apart the entire storage unit and put it back together so that there was room for the stuff that's coming from Colorado to fit in. Go figure. The piece, of course, that I'm talking about, though, is to be grateful for all of that. Be grateful that we have the storage unit. Be grateful that we could rearrange it. Be grateful that we can create the space for the stuff that we have coming from Colorado. Be grateful that we're here and have a base of operations from which to operate so that we can find a place to live, so we can find our new home. Gratitude in all things. Ernest Holmes said, in everything, give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are already in heaven. Love that one, man. And it's, you know what? I've known that expression for many years. And I just kind of had a feeling of what it meant to be an attitude of gratitude is most salutary. I didn't really know the meaning of salutary. And salutary is basically, in this particular sense, is an expectation of good things to come. So that in having that attitude of gratitude, I am expecting good things. I am expecting more, literally, to be grateful for. And I think from the standpoint of living in expectancy, I am always expecting that it's going to be better, that it's more, better. This or something greater is always going to be my reality. So again, gratitude in all things. Big deal for me. Once again, if you're out there, if you're listening, if you're watching, or if there's, if you watch this in the replay, I'd love to have you answer the question: how are you living your best life today? How are you living your best life? I think some of the things that come to my mind are living my best life by, first of all, being my beloved Lisa and I being just brave enough, if you will, but also aware enough to make the big move from Colorado to North Carolina, being aware of the fact that this was going to be something serving our best, if you will, that we had lived the life that we wanted to live in Colorado, and that was it. That's a part of it. Also, the idea that we're both entrepreneurs, that we work from home, both of us, that we don't go to an office, that we fill our cup with the work that we do from right here, from sitting in this little office, my new office here in North Carolina, and with my computer in front of me and my camera on, and here I am, and this is what I do to express myself, to build the brand of Ken Ludwig, to build the brand of Vibrant Living and Vibrant Aging, to build that brand. This is my thing. This is what I am doing here in the world to make that all happen. And my sponsors, my great sponsor, HempWorks, my CBD, the juice of life, man. This is God's plant medicine. This CBD is what Mother Earth and the divine planned for us to consume to keep ourselves healthy and to keep ourselves alive and live and thriving, because it works in so many different ways. But that's a piece of what I can do from home here. I promote and market those products along with many, many other products that come under the same umbrella as the company that HempWorks is a part of. It's called My Daily Choice. There are 8 other brands underneath there. And those are all things that contribute to my ability to live my best life, which is I've not had a job, a job, in pushing 20 years. I've not had to have a job. Am I rich? Am I famous? No, but that's not important. What matters is that I can do this from anywhere I want to do it. And I can, like here, okay, in North Carolina, as opposed to Colorado, I can do it from anywhere. And it allows me the freedom to do that, to have location freedom, but also time freedom and financial freedom. Excuse me, to always be just, even if I just make enough to make ends meet, I'm doing it without having to report to anybody else and being told, here, you're worth $12 an hour or $15 an hour or $16 an hour. This is what you're worth and this is what I'm going to pay you. No, I'm worth whatever I can make, whatever I can put together, however I decide I want to work, or however hard I want to work, or however diligently or smart I want to work. I can produce my own means of support. Got to be grateful for that, right? Absolutely have to be grateful for that. There's lots of things in this world that occur that are not apparently things to be grateful for. We have a pandemic going on. We have new variants going on. We have people who deny the science of all of that. People who, in my life, were people I otherwise thought intelligent who don't buy into science, who buy into random quacks, random politically incentivized quacks for their information. I saw someone who I knew years ago. I don't really know her anymore, but someone who I knew years ago who I thought was a pretty intelligent human being. She's now promoting the idea that this new variant, the Omicron variant, Omicron is actually an anagram for moronic, and they're using that to screw us, whoever they are, and however they're screwing us. Just mind-boggling to me how stupid that is. And I'm, don't want to be judgmental, don't want to point a finger, but that idea is stupid. And I never thought this person was, but the idea that she's expressing is beyond stupid. But to some extent, we have to be grateful for those people that are spreading lies, that are spreading falsehoods, that are spreading non-science, if you will. We have to be grateful for them as the barometer by which we measure how well we're doing against the virus, against the pandemic. I'm grateful for these people because they point out to me that what had been a pandemic of the planet is little by little becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated. I'm grateful for their participation, for their volunteering to be the people who will catch the virus, thin the herd, however that works. And I don't mean to be too facetious about that, but I do mean to be a little facetious. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. We had this another mass shooting, a 16-year-old boy shooting up a school in Michigan, killing three young teenagers, and then a fourth one died today. So 4 dead, and there were injured were in the teens. I don't remember, 15, 16. What's there to be grateful for about that? I think, and I don't know this to be true, but I think we are destined to continue to repeat the cycle of mass shootings and killings in school and those kinds of things. We're destined to repeat that until we get it through our heads, or until we get enough people motivated and activated to realize that 400 million guns among 350 million people, and that doesn't mean that everybody owns a gun and a seventh. It means that, there's a small number of those 350 million people, or a small percentage, own those 400 million guns. That we have too many guns, not enough restrictions, not enough rules, not enough safeguards, not enough safety rails to prevent or to at least mitigate the numbers of shootings that we have. How many people will it take? I can remember once, years ago, on my radio show, when I did my radio show, What We're Thinking About on the Co-Creator Network, I had a caller call in and ask me what was the good in 2000 in the attacks of 9/11 in 2001. And my answer was, I don't know. I don't know what the good is there, but I do recognize that every time there is some disaster, every time there's one of these shootings, there are a certain number of people who go into selfless service mode. They decide to serve the one being all of us. And even after it's over and our collective attention span goes back to whatever it was we were doing before the disaster, even after that happens, there are a certain number of those people who stay engaged in that selfless service mode. That's the good. And I think that it's important that we have people who are engaged as servants to us all, as servants to the one. I think it's important that those people be recognized, that we be grateful for them, and that we perhaps look at them and say, what part of that is me and what part of that is mine to do? How do I benefit the planet? Who can I benefit and how can I benefit them? Who can I serve? How can I serve them? How do I show up each and every day so that it is recognized that I am a beneficial presence? How do I show up each and every day so that if I were arrested for being a beneficial presence, there would be enough evidence to convict me? How do I do that? And if you're called to the gun thing, then this latest shooting in Michigan, maybe that's your tipping point. Maybe that's the one that gets you engaged. Maybe any of the other things that are going on in the world. They start just earlier today, just out of sheer silliness. We are a superpower. The United States is a superpower. What are our superpowers? Are our superpowers that we have more political liars than anybody else? That we have more guns than any other country on the planet in civilian hands? That we have the greatest percentage of children living in poverty among industrialized nations? That we have the greatest income equality? Are those our superpowers? When I was a kid, or even when I was a young man or a younger man, which was yesterday, but even when I was a younger man, America was number one. We were always number one. The United States was number one. And what we were number one in, we were number one in education. We were number one in income. We were number one in opportunities for women. We were number one in all kinds of things. Hi, Enico. We were number one in so many different ways. And we're not even in the top 10 in most of those anymore. This is the greatest country. We are a superpower. Is our superpower that we have fallen out of the rankings of all the things in the top 10 areas that make you number one, that we've fallen out of the top 10 in every one of them? I mean, I don't mean it as an indictment. I mean it as a question. And so, and the flip side of that question is then, what is it that is mine to do? I have someone watching the show right now, my friend Enico, and Enico knows that I love her dearly. And Enico, the idea of today's show was, how am I living my best life? And if you would put in the comments your thoughts on how you're living your best life, because I know you, and I know that you are living an extraordinary life of accomplishment, an extraordinary life of experience and experiment and travel, and you're just having a great time. How are you living your best life? Express that to me so that maybe I can translate that for the other people who are watching. That would be fabulous if you would do that. Excuse me. If we remain silent on all of these issues that no longer qualify us as number one in the world, and again, education, income inequality, too many guns in the hands of too many crazy people, too many people who don't believe in science, too many people who are absolutely cultivating stupid, too many people who are hell-bent on vilifying, if you will, the idea of intelligence. If we remain silent, then all we do is embolden those people. It's what we've got going on in this country with the lying. I mean, I don't want to get too political about this, but I always love Bill Maher. Bill Maher is one of my heroes, in that he's a pretty funny comedian, not the greatest, but pretty funny. But he's also a very astute political observer, and he has talked in terms of the left, if you will. He used to say the left brings a knife to a gunfight with the right. Last year or the year before, he changed his tune from the left is no longer bringing a knife to a gunfight. Now they're bringing a covered dish, because they don't fight fire with fire. I think part of that is not standing up for right. And I don't mean right versus wrong. I mean, we all know what's right. We all know what's right. And that doesn't mean that we have to make someone else wrong. If you disagree with me, that doesn't make you wrong. It just means we disagree. But if I know in that disagreement what is right for me to be and to do, then I just do that. And regardless of what anyone else's opinion is or what their activities are, I am clearly doing what I feel is right until such time as I get evidence that I'm not right. There's a great saying that I just saw this past week that I love. The way you alchemize a soulless world into a sacred world is by treating everyone as if they are sacred until the sacred in them remembers. Just think about that. I'm going to read that again. Just think about it. The way you alchemize a soulless world into a sacred world is by treating everyone as if they are sacred until the sacred in them remembers. That's a metaphysician's truth, of course, is to know the highest and best for each individual anytime they've forgotten it, anytime they're doubting it, every time they're uncertain about it. I have friends in business who have thought themselves inadequate, insufficient, and I have done everything I can in my power to encourage them, as I have been encouraged in my sense of insufficiencies, to encourage them, to hold them as sacred, to hold them in the highest light, till they remember who they are, till they remember they belong in the highest light. That's how we change the world. Activism is great. Activism is fantastic. We need activists. We need people who observe this shooting this past week and get involved in trying to change the laws. We need people who get involved after the one I mentioned earlier, the situation of 9/11, people who went into that selfless service mode and then stayed there even after our collective attention span went on to the next news cycle. Those people, we need those people, absolutely. But what we need more than that even is you and me from within. Our biggest mistake, from the moment we get up in the morning to the moment we get to bed, our biggest mistake in life is believing that something outside of our own selves must change first. Something outside of our own hearts must change first. In other words, you have to change in order for things to right the ship. That's not true. What goes on in my own heart is what has to change. If there's any kind of turmoil in my life, turmoil in my world, turmoil in my universe, it all starts with me. My friend Barry even always says, I hate it when that happens, but it's the truth. It starts with each and every one of us. What is in my heart, anything less than love in my heart, absolutely without any question, is at the root cause of anything and everything I perceive as wrong in my life, in my world. If we want to live our best life, which was the idea of today's show, if we want to live our best life, it starts with coming from a sense of love. I should have here my friend Eniko, who is listening to the show here. She posted Marianne Williamson's most famous quote last week on her Facebook page, and I was amazed at how many people loved the quote and they were really excited about it. But I had no idea that the quote was from Marianne Williamson, or it was from her seminal book, A Return to Love, that she wrote in 1989. I think it was published in 92. But farther out, it's about the idea of, it is not our darkness that scares us. It is our light that scares us most. It is our brilliance that scares us most. We wonder, who are we to be brilliant, loving, beautiful, kind? And the question is, who are you not to be? Each and every one of us is a child of the divine, and each and every one of us is called to reflect that divine light. And in so doing, we give others the permission to do so. And farther down the page of that quote, and that's kind of I'm kind of impressed with myself that I even came that close to a paraphrase of her quote, but farther down the page, excuse me, it says, are you looking for a more important job? There isn't one. The most important job we have on this planet is to reflect the divine light that is at the core of our being. And you can call that whatever you want. It is your own personal light. It is your own sense of being a beneficial presence. It's your own sense of being someone of selfless service. It is your own sense of being someone who helps anyone and everyone in your sphere of influence who needs your help. What does Jimmy Carter say? That his faith demands that he do as much as he can, for as many as he can, for as long as he can. That's selfless service right there, folks. I'm not sure how I'm participating in that. I'm not sure how well I am doing at that. But what I am sure of is that I know that's the path my life should be on every single moment of every single day. Now, am I doing that? Hell no. Am I trying? Simply by doing this show, I'm trying. So by doing this show today, this particular subject matter, I'm trying. Every single morning when I get up and I do my affirmations before I get out of bed, every single morning when I do my exercises because of my desire to stay strong and healthy and fit at age 70, every single morning when I sit down and do my meditation practice and my prayer work and my affirmations, every single day that I do those things, I am endeavoring to bring myself to that next highest vision of me, which is all about reflecting that light from within. And in truth, in honesty, I rarely succeed. I fail way more often than I succeed. But I also know that I'm never, ever, ever going to stop trying. That goes for everything. It goes for my business as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for, like I said, over 20 years. I haven't had to have a job because I'm an entrepreneur. Actually, it's closer to 30 years at this point. But I have not ever experienced monumental success. I have never, ever put myself in a position where I can stop working forever. You know, one of the things of network marketing, which is my pride and joy and my passion, one of the things about that is to develop a residual income so that you can actually work really, really hard in the beginning and then work less and less and less as time goes by and just kind of leverage what you have done before. I have some modest success at that, but it's kept me in that paradigm where I don't have to work for a living, where I don't have to have a job. And again, back to the original point of the show, I'm very grateful for that. Very grateful for that. But part of the knowledge that I am not succeeding at living my best life more times than I am succeeding at it, part of that is reflected in the fact that I'm not experiencing the success in business that I truly desire and that I believe I deserve because of the amount of time I put in, the amount of effort I put in. But I also know that I'm not grateful enough for what I have. I also know that I don't spend enough time celebrating the success of others, being as excited as for their success as I am about my own, knowing that there's plenty for everybody, and we should all be excited for everyone's success. Everyone's success lifts up the collective consciousness, ourselves included. It's maybe a little more vulnerable than I planned on being today. So, don't have a lot of response here. I was looking to see if anybody was going to tell me how they really are living their best life, or ask me your question about living your best life. I'll be glad to answer it. I'll be glad to talk about it. I'll be glad to change the subject anytime. So here's what we're going to do here. This is not only about living your best life. It's also about living a more positive and spiritual life, which was always the gist of my radio show a decade ago. That's where I'm going with this always. How to live your best life, how to live a more positive and spiritual life. What is the spiritual solution? There is a spiritual solution to every single question. There's a spiritual solution to every circumstance, every situation, every conundrum. There is a spiritual solution. The pursuit of that is my quest to reach my highest self, to become the next highest vision of Ken. Not sure how that's going to happen. Not sure how it's going to transpire, but I know every single day that is going to be my endeavor, what I'm trying to accomplish. Go back to the very beginning of the show. It starts with that attitude of gratitude. To be grateful in all things, for all things. I am going to embark on a show that's going to lean more into the political. I'm not going to do it here on New Thought Media Network. I'm going to do it on my probably on my Making It Out Alive page on Facebook. I'll probably do it based out of there. But I'm going to talk about what do we do to absolutely improve the situation in our politics. And by that, I mean the animosity. I mean the vitriol. I mean the threats and the just the hate that people are fomenting. I'm gonna talk about that. But in the context of talking about it, I'm also going to talk about it knowing that there is a spiritual solution, and the spiritual solution for what all these crazy politicians out here, whatever they're doing, the spiritual solution for their misbehavior, if you will. That sounds a little too corny, but the spiritual solution for that has nothing to do with that. It has to do with me. What's my reaction? I'm responsible for my responses. I'm responsible to not react, but to respond. I'm responsible for that. Responsible. The ability to respond as opposed to react. And we'll talk about that on that show. Anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I think it's almost it for me today. I'm not worried anymore about doing the Vibrant Living Hour. Is about vibrant living. It's about living your best life. It's not about doing the hour. It's about getting my thoughts out and responding to you out there. If you have anything on your mind that you would like to express to me, please feel free to find me. You can go to, you can send me an email at this email address, teamrocketnow@gmail.com. You can go to my Facebook page, the branded Facebook page of my beloved Lisa and I, which is Vibrant Aging on Facebook. You can donate to this network. By the way, it's the season of giving. It is the season of giving, and New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization. We exist on your donations. We thrive on your donations. If you have any question about where you want to donate for 2021 for your tax deduction, we are a tax deductible entity. Send us your dough. Whatever your contribution is, we're thrilled to have it. Absolutely thrilled to have it. And are very, very grateful for your support, without question. I mentioned earlier that my show is sponsored by hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig. Go to that page to find out more about the world's greatest CBD products. On A full line of products, by the way, folks, not just the oils. I mean, we have the tinctures. We have the greatest tinctures. We have them in, and this is 2 examples, okay? And this is full spectrum. This has 0.3% or less of THC, which makes it legal all over the entire country. And in a great many other countries around the world. This is a global company. We are active on 6 continents, and there's all kinds of opportunity here if that's something you might be interested in. But then there's also, in the white cap, is broad spectrum. Broad spectrum has no THC whatsoever, THC free. So if you're somebody who's allergic, if you are somebody who has a very serious, very sensitive drug test that you're going to take, then that broad spectrum is for you. There's no discernible THC in there whatsoever. Excuse me. So check that out. But a full line of other products: hair care, skin care, pain relief creams, dog treats, CBD, bacon flavored CBD for your dog. I have friends that just take the plunger out of the bottle, squirt a little on the floor, and the dog just licks it up. CBD is great for every mammal on the planet. Every single mammal that is walking the planet has an endocannabinoid system, which is stimulated and helped to bring into homeostasis by CBD. CBD infused coffee. I love that stuff. It's a coffee you can drink in the afternoon. It won't keep you awake. It's really fabulous. I love it. Anyway, a whole line of CBD infused products, as well as the other. You go to that if you go to that website, hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig, you will also be able to go and view the rest of the products that I have on My Daily Choice, which is the umbrella for the 9 brands that are the 8 other brands and Hempworks. They're all under that same umbrella. So go look there. That's the sponsor of my show, is hempworks.com. What else did I have for you today? I think that's it. I'm working on, a month ago, or maybe more than that, we were really trying very hard to get Arun Gandhi, the grandson of Mohandas Gandhi, on the show. Arun is a Facebook friend of mine, has been for many years, and he was going to do the show. We had technical difficulties trying to get him on board. What I am going to do is I'm going to try and bring Arun on after the first of the year. Arun is one of the founding, I don't know what you would even call it. He was instrumental in the creation of the Season for Nonviolence, which is the time between, I believe it's January 30th and April 4th, which are the anniversaries of the assassination of his grandfather, Mohandas Gandhi, and Martin Luther King. So the Season of Nonviolence is a big deal, and I think we'll bring Arun on sometime in early January or mid-January to talk about the Season for Nonviolence and how we all might participate in that. That is one of those things when we talk about it all coming from the heart, absolute engagement in the Season for Nonviolence. And go look it up go Google the Season for Nonviolence. I mean, there's a whole regimen of things that you celebrate each day. You celebrate nonviolence. Nonviolence is not about something. It's not about just not shooting people. Nonviolence is about how we talk to one another. Nonviolence is about how we interact with each other and the world and with the universe. That's nonviolence. The Season for Nonviolence celebrates the work of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King. So I hope we'll bring Arun on for that. I also will be bringing on other guests. I'm going to really dive into this a little bit deeper. I've had a few guests on here, dear friends of mine, great business people, great authors, great new thought thinkers. I'm going to try and bring more of those people on board, and we'll kind of make this as interesting as we possibly can, or more interesting if we can, than just be yapping away for an hour or 45 minutes or however long I can continue to yap before I run out of stuff to say. So that's it for me. Let's make this day and every day a good one. And you do that by starting each day knowing, absolute knowing that it's a good day. It's a day to be grateful for. And every single thing that transpires in that day is going to contribute to our advancement in our lives. As always, I am immensely grateful for the tremendous gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the benefits that the universe has to offer. I hope you will join me next Thursday at our new time, by the way, 2:00 Mountain, 4:00 Eastern time on Thursday, every Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Mountain time. I hope you will join me next week. But until then, namaste.